going to find products for Amazon dropshipping, and I'm going to do it without using sourcing software such as Tactical Arbitrage. Rather, I'm going to use Google Sheets, mainly automated Google Sheets that I actually made that help to automate the Amazon sourcing process. Now, before I actually jump right into it and start doing it, what I'm going to do is briefly mention that if you look at the list of sites on Tactical Arbitrage, right, they have 1,473 sites, but there are way more sites than that, obviously, in existence. So if you scroll all the way down, I'm going to look for Zoro.com, which is the supplier that I want to work with. And if I scroll all the way down, this is in alphabetical order, and I go all the way down to Z, you will see that Zoro is not on the list, right? We have Zappos, we have this thing, we have this, and we have Zounds, right? We have these, but we don't have Zoro.com. So therefore, we're going to use these Google Sheets that I made instead. But first of all, we have to start out with some inspection of the supplier. Now, here's the thing. There are two different directions that we can go in to do this research. One is we can start on Zoro, go to a certain category on Zoro, and then search for those products. For instance, I could take this particular product, take the title, the title, copy it, take it over to Amazon, search for that product, and see if it shows up on Amazon. So that would be going from the supplier over to Amazon, right? And to do that, I use this Google Sheet, actually this one, which is called the Amazon Matcher. I consider that a matching process, taking products from the supplier and trying to match them onto Amazon. But the other way to do it, which is the way that I'm going to use right now, is to go to Amazon instead and search for a brand that I know is sold at Zoro. For instance, this Metrovac brand. Let's say I was to take this brand, for instance, Metrovac, and I don't know if this brand is going to show up on Amazon, but I'm just going to search it as an example. And here it is. Sure enough, we have this Metrovac brand showing up quite a bit on Amazon. And then I will try to see if I can find these same products back on Zoro. Okay? So basically, I'm going to Amazon first, and then from there, I'm going backwards to then see if I can find the product on Zoro. All right? Now, there are like advantages to each one of those approaches, but the advantage of starting on Amazon is that you already know that every product you are looking at is on Amazon. However, there's also advantages to starting on Zoro, which is that perhaps there's a certain category that you just want to inspect. And also, you might want to look across different brands. So you might want to go to the menu and go to office school shipping supplies, but you're not looking into a certain brand. You just want to look at shipping and moving boxes, for instance. So then in that case, you'll want to start on Zoro. Now, again, I'm going to start in this particular video on Amazon. And so I'm going to use this Amazon sourcer. So what I'm going to do is go down to the bottom of the page, and then from there, okay, the bottom of the Zoro website, and click on brands. When you click on brands, you get a list of featured brands. This is not even all the brands they have. These are all the brands listed here, right? We get way more brands, including the brand that we just saw, right? That brand might even be on here, or it might not be. So what I will do is just take a brand from here. Now, here's the thing. I don't really know if the brand is going to be profitable, right? So this is the thing that, we don't know, but I'm just going to spend the time looking at the brand, right? And see what happens. Okay, so now I'm going to just kind of randomly go with something. And let's just see. Okay, let's take Georgia Pacific. And one thing you want to do is go ahead and open up the brand on the supplier on Zoro, because you want to get an idea of what's happening on Zoro, right? Because there are brands that only have like 2 items. It can happen, right? This has got 308 items. Okay, fine. So I'll take Georgia Pacific. Clearly the brand has some kind of presence on Zoro. Then I'll go over to Amazon, search the brand Georgia Pacific, and see what kind of results I get. And really what I'm looking to see is that Georgia Pacific is actually on Amazon, that when I search Georgia Pacific, I actually get Georgia Pacific and not like other. Now you're going to get other brands that show up as well, but Georgia Pacific, you want that to be the majority, a large majority of the results. I will just click on a random Georgia Pacific product, because another thing I'm curious about is who is selling the product. And if I see Amazon selling it, generally it's usually hard to compete when Amazon is selling the brand, but it's possible that they're selling some of the products but not all of the products, so it can still be worth taking a look. But if I look at this product, I see that it's a fulfilled by merchant seller, ships from, sold by the same by the seller themselves, so that means that it's fulfilled by merchant, right? So not every product is sold by Amazon of this particular brand. So what I'm going to do is go back to my Georgia Pacific results, and now if I had to do this totally manually, right, I would have to open each of these Georgia Pacific products. If I was to do this without the Google Sheets that I'm about to show you, or if I'm to do this without sourcing software, I'd have to manually search this product. And I mean, you could Google it if you just, well, I mean, Googling it is an option, but you could also search it straight on Zoro. But, if you Google it, you very well might find Zoro. You would Google it if you were not necessarily looking for Zoro, and perhaps you're considering other suppliers as well. But when we're talking about drop shipping, you're usually very specific in drop shipping that you want to use a specific supplier. So maybe I would even just search on Zoro, or I would be looking for Zoro results there. And I mean, so far I don't see any, but it's going to be a time-consuming process if I have to walk through every product in this manner. So this is why I created these Google Sheets. So now what we're going to do, this Amazon sourcer already has products in it. I'm just going to click on System Reset and just clear it out. But the first thing we need to do is get the products off of this page and get them into a CSV file so that I can bring them into the Google Sheet, because the Google Sheet does not actually connect to Amazon, right? So what I'm going to do is use Instant Data Scraper, which is a free Chrome extension. As you can see here, you just click on it and it activates immediately. It by default, if you're on Amazon, it's probably just going to go ahead and put a box around the Amazon products, as you can see, and that pulls the data. Now it's going to pull a lot. It's just a raw pull of the whole page. This Chrome extension was not designed for Amazon specifically, so it's just going to pull a whole bunch of stuff. But the main stuff I want are the titles, the prices, and well, just that really, and the links. Okay, so it's a little messy, but it does get me the data that I'm wanting to get. But I need it to get more pages, so I'm going to click Locate Next button on the Chrome extension and then click Next. So that tells it, hey, this is the next button. Once I've done that, I just click Start Crawling, and it should automatically turn the pages and just pull all that data from all these different pages. Okay, so that's the second page, and then we have third page. Just wait for that to pull through. Third page. All right, just got to give it a moment. The fourth page. And fifth page. And let's see. Page. Let's wait for page 6. Okay. By the way, I do want to mention while I'm waiting for this that I have a Google Sheet linked in the description of the video that has links to different products lists or other lists that I've put together as I'm testing systems. When I do a video like this, I'll have a Google Sheet. You can actually access the sheet with the results. from this test. Okay, so now I've got the CSV. Okay, so if you scroll over, you'll see the titles and all of that in here. You'll see prices in here. You'll see all kinds of stuff in here. Okay, just click CSV, and then we'll get a better look at it when we go into Google Sheets. So just click CSV. That will download it. It says Amazon, the 26 in parentheses, because I have a lot of other downloads called Amazon. So we've got the CSV. It's on my computer. It's in my downloads. Okay, but now I need to put it inside of Google Sheets, inside of this Google Sheet. So the place to put it is in the IDS CSV tab down here at the bottom. So now you will go to File, and then Import, and then you click on Upload. Browse, because we're looking to browse for, because we're looking for the file. The file is Amazon 26. It's the last file I downloaded. Click Open. You wait for it. The file is now loaded up and ready to go into the Google Sheet. Now, it's very critical that you select Replace Current Sheet. Do not do Replace Spreadsheet. It will literally erase the whole spreadsheet. Replace Current Sheet. Leave all this stuff. It should be on. Detect automatically. Convert text. So on and so forth. Import data. You just click on Import Data, and that will bring in the data. Now, if you take a look at the data, you see that well, first of all, there are a ton of columns there, right? And so what happens is that the Instant Data Scraper is not programmed for any specific website. It uses artificial intelligence to kind of figure out the structure of a web page, and then it downloads all the data into a table, okay, as it figures it out. So it's not going to say Amazon link or product title or anything like that. Okay, so what happens is there's what we call a columns map, and I already have a default map set up in here, and that's going to basically look for certain columns and copy them over to the sourcing sheet. Okay, but basically, since I already have it set up, that map is called IDS Amazon Search. So you will select IDS Amazon Search, or if you're, depending on the version you're using, it might just say Amazon Search or something like that, or Search. And then I will click on Copy IDS Data, right? And that should just bring everything over and put it into place, right? Because the map already knows where to look for the URLs, which is under this column heading, where to look for the titles and where to look for the prices. Okay, so just so you understand what's actually happening. Now the ASINs, there are no ASINs because the ASINs are inside of the URLs. They're not downloaded. Okay, so I will click on Get ASINs, and that will then attempt to pull ASINs from these different URLs. Some of the URLs will not, unfortunately, will not deliver an ASIN. And that might mean that the URL is not an actual product URL. It might have been like an ad or something else on the page, because it does pull everything off the page kind of just blindly. But that's fine because we have plenty of ASINs. So if some of them are not actual ASINs, that is okay. We have plenty of products here that have actual ASINs, as you can see. And we've downloaded in total about 430 rows. So, you have a few things here that are kind of out of whack like this, but that's fine, right? It's just, something extra that's on the sheet. You can even just delete it, but I mean, really, I'm not really concerned with that. But you do see that many of these have ASINs, right? Okay, so now we've got a sourcing sheet, as it's called, where we have URLs, Amazon URLs, to open up the products. We have ASINs for some of the URLs that are good URLs. And we have product titles for those, again, for the good products that came out good. And we have corresponding prices. What we need to do now is to find potential sources. Now, in this case, I'm really focusing on Zoro, okay? So what I want to do is go to suppliers, right? First of all, and see that I have a whole list of suppliers here. I'm not actually using these suppliers, okay? In this case, I'm using what's called a target supplier, meaning I'm looking for one or more than one. You can put more than one. And your target supplier is Zoro.com, so you will type in, and you have to put the domain, not just the name Zoro, it's got to be Zoro.com. You will type that in under target suppliers, Zoro.com, okay? And when you go back to the sourcing sheet, right, where it's up here where it says targeted search, you'll change no to yes, okay? Now for the maximum sources per product, whatever you want, but I have the template set up only to receive 10, okay? So 10 is your max. Minimum match accuracy, it's a kind of a tricky thing. It's a rough estimation of match accuracy. When trying to target a particular supplier, I often don't use it. I would say just leave it at 0. Just let it find whatever it finds, okay? And so starting at the first row now, I will go to Amazon Scraper and Sourcer. So look, here's the thing. You've got to look up at the top to see that I've added these menu items, okay, onto the Google Sheet. So Amazon Scraper and Sourcer, and then, whoops, you'll click Start Sourcing, and it will start trying to, what it actually does is it will do a search of these titles, and if it finds results for those titles that are from Zoro.com, then it will print those here onto the sheet, right? If it does not find results for those products, then it might not print anything. So now I'll just wait for it, and let's see. So now, depending on the brand or just depending on the titles, it just depends on the set of products we have. That will determine, how many results we get. You might also find, pockets where certain products seem to be getting more results than others. Don't forget that some of these are not proper titles. This is just a brand. I don't even think this is a proper product link. It might not even be a proper link in this case. So, it just says Georgia Pacific for the title. It doesn't have like a product title. So, I mean, those are probably not going to work out. But for the ones that apparently have an actual complete title, you'll see that they get a lot more sources, sometimes 10. Now, why so many sources? Because it's just searching product titles. Whatever comes up. Whatever comes up on the search engines. It's not using Google, by the way. It's using, because Google does not let you directly access their search engine from Google Sheets. However, you can access other search engines as much as you want. So it's using Bing, Yahoo, Ask.com, other search engines, right? Now, okay, so this will take some time and it will just keep going and going. And so, rather than just sitting here and watching this, I'll move on. That will continue to run for, a certain amount of time. I'll show you the next piece of this, which is the products list. Now, I mean, I can start navigating, right? However, let's look for something that actually has an ASIN. I can go ahead and start navigating these products if I wish, right, to get an idea. But, in fact, yeah, I'll just do that quickly just so you can see that. So you can click that Amazon link and you can start to get some results here, right? That's an Amazon product. And then you can, and by the way, this is not really how you're going to completely find products, because it's very difficult to do it this way. Very time consuming, because you're still just kind of guessing and just opening up things. But just to see what results it's getting, right? You can see that the results are similar and possibly, potentially even the same, right? Okay. But rather than navigating that way, what you're going to do is create a products list. So this button, generate products list, you will click on that. And what that does is it will actually go row by row, copy this product data, and then it will copy the sources over here onto this sheet, product list, and put them on separate rows so that they're easier to look at. Okay, so it's easier, it'll be a lot easier to see what's happening. However, I think I need to reset my list first, okay? The thing is that the Google Sheet uses the Google Sheet to keep track, right? When I say uses, I mean it remembers where it left off by putting the numbers here. And I chose to do it that way so you can see it. So you have to reset it to clear out the numbers, to also clears out the list, and then click on Generate Products List. And it will start generating the list. As you can see, it says last row copied, meaning on this sheet, and it will keep going down and copying, and over here you will see the list begin to generate. Now what happens as it generates the list is it will just copy URL, you know, whatever you have, the price, title. It will just by default put a 10% tax as the tax by default. Now you see the ASINs are coming in. Now remember, we have up to 10 sources per ASIN. So when it copies over here, you will get the same ASIN potentially up to 10 times with these different sources, right? With 10 different sources. Okay. And sometimes you do have multiple matching sources due to different sizes, 100 pack, 1,000 pack or something. Right. So it is possible that you know, these could be like different sizes, or, you know, there are different reasons why you have multiple, so many different sources for the different ASINs, right? So this is really where the sourcing investigation is going to happen, because on this sheet, right, I can, you know, look at each source individually. Now, while I can do that technically right now, the thing is, what would be a lot more helpful is if I actually had the prices of these Zoro products. So when I said in the beginning that, and I'm going to just dismiss these, I really don't want to, because I want to know when those scripts are done. Okay, that one is done. So when I mentioned that you're not going to need sourcing software for this process, it's because the sourcing software has what the sourcing software does is that it has the ability to go to these websites and pull the product data, most importantly that price data, in, which then allows you to calculate the profitability, right? So using get data, this is a function I actually made for Google Sheets, and it's a function that has the ability to visit a website URL and extract data from it if I have programmed it to do so. Now, the most important data I've had to extract is the prices from certain websites. It does not work with any and all websites. It cannot even connect to all websites, but it does work with Zoro.com. So we can use get data for this particular supplier, which is Zoro. So how do we use get data? Well, get data is already installed. You will click get data, and you will set what's called the extraction column. Okay, set extraction column. In other words, make this column a column where the data gets extracted to it. Okay, so it's going to ask you now to enter the data element that's going to be extracted, because it doesn't know, right? So you have to tell it price. You will type the word price. Okay, when you download this from me, I believe I have a Google Sheet I made, because I made this a few years ago, but there's a Google Sheet that has like a list of some of the different data elements. Okay, so price is the most common one, and then it's going to say enter source columns. That means where are you going to get the price from, and the answer is H, column H. So you'll click OK on that, and that sets up the column. Now, to actually get data, and I'll do just one at first, I'll go to get data and then select extract range. And when you select extract range, what happens? Okay, let's see. If it's a good link, then we should get a price. In this case, it is $64.25. Now what I will do is go ahead and open this Zoro link. Okay. And there we have $64.25. Sure enough, that is the price. And as you can see, Get Data successfully scraped that price, right? So now we're not going to sit here clicking on each cell one by one. Okay, that's not the way I set it up. There's something else we need to do. Get Data set head and row. Get Data set head and row. That means where the row number, like the column headings, like we're up here at the top. So that's row 1. Why do I need to do this? Set row 1 is the heading, because I don't want it to try to extract the price up here. Okay, I want it to start after that. Because what I'm going to do now is select the whole column by clicking on the letter J. Select the whole column. I'm going to go to Get Data and then again do Extract Range. And yes, it will extract the range for one cell, but it will also do a whole list, like a whole sheet. Okay, so it will crawl now, and it will do one by one. The reason why it crawls in this manner and does them in this very deliberate manner is because Google Sheets, being a free platform, has rate limits on things like extracting, connecting to websites. So if it were to operate too quickly, you would be constantly going over the rate limit and they would stop you. Okay, in fact, they will stop you for about 24 hours per Google account. Okay, and then you have to wait 24 hours before you can connect to websites. Right, so for that reason, Get Data has, yes, there's a delay. It did not have to be this slow. It's intentionally this slow, and it intentionally goes one by one to avoid going over that rate limit. Okay, so it will crawl and it will gradually extract the data. Okay, the price data. Now what happens is, as those prices come in, right, over here on the right, we immediately get some profit calculations, right? Because we have formulas in here, okay? Now, if you're working with FBA, I know this is geared towards dropshipping, but if you're working with online arbitrage as well, there are people who do both. Then you will also need FBA fees, and of course, you'll need some kind of software to get that. But since I'm focusing on dropshipping, I'm mainly just going to look at the profit FBM. Okay, so what you really want to do here, perhaps, is even apply like a filter to this list. So I'll just go on the first row, click one, data, create a filter, and just wait for that. Create a filter, and you really want to have a filter on that first row. So what you'll be able to do is actually go to this where it says profit fulfilled by merchant, which is for dropshipping. You can go filter by color. And you could do, well, only because I already colored it a certain way. Or you can do filter by condition. And you can say greater than 0. Let's do that to be exact. Okay, filter by condition. And it will only give you those profits that are coming up greater than 0. And from here, you can start navigating your products. Okay, I see the source. This is empty. Okay, this should be equal. All right, so I'll have to just fix that. This is hyperlink D4. This should be hyperlink as well. The source is in J. Should be column J. Okay, so that must have gotten deleted. Okay, I've got to make sure that's on the okay, downloadable version. Okay, and that's basically the setup. So now it might not even be done getting the prices, but just to start to look at a few products here. I can start opening these, and really I should do the ones that have ASINs. Okay, Pacific Blue Ultra Hand Foam, for instance, and then I can open this. Okay, this says invalid. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. The source is in H. Sorry, not J. I had my mind on the price, so I just was looking at the price column. But actually, I'm trying to create a hyperlink, so it's H. And when I click on the source link, then I should get the source. Okay. And, okay. I'm not sure, however, that was a good URL. So actually, I'm going to have another video where I go more into the navigation. I'll navigate some of these products. But, oh, yes. Okay. That link is not even a good link. You want to make sure that there's actually an ASIN. So when you go to ASIN, you're going to want to turn off this blanks. Okay. You need to make sure that the products actually have an ASIN so that you're navigating products that are like, you know, proper products. So you can begin to look here and see if there's like a preview to see if products are similar. It's not always going to be a perfect match. And even source and software will give you that sometimes, matches that aren't actually matches. So it can happen sometimes. Sometimes it will be. But basically, you know, you will keep going through this to see like how these look similar, right? You'll open one on Amazon. Wait for it. Okay, Pacific, blue, right? And then you can open another. Click here, open another on here, source. Whoops. And then you'll see that open up. Okay. Right, that appears to be the same product. And $43.59 versus $36.75. I mean, there's some price difference. It's not like humongous. And I mean, of course, we can pay more attention to the profit estimation, which is really just $6. But, you know, still not a bad profit if you can sell a number of these units. I mean, not a bad ROI. I mean, 21.56%. It's not a bad ROI. I mean, this is not a super expensive product, so we can't, the net profit number, it's not going to be huge. But yeah, I mean, for drop shipping, yeah, you know, not such a bad price difference if you're if you are getting free shipping from Zoro. That really is the question. So if you're not getting free shipping, then that's another story. So you know, you just add it to the cart. If you're unfamiliar with their shipping policy, you know, add it to the cart, view the cart. You know, yeah, you do pay $5 shipping. That's what I remember. So if you add shipping to all of these, right, you're going to have to consider that in the profit, that maybe it's not, it's $5 less if you're paying for shipping, right? So that's one thing. But if the price is above 50, the shipping might be free. So these are all different things that you have to think about as you're going through the products. So that is basically, however, that's basically the process, what I did right there. That's the process of doing this without any paid software. Now, as far as navigating, however, products and looking at things like brand safety, you might need software for that. Okay, and the software for that that I'm using in this video is IP Alert, which is a Chrome extension, and that will indicate brand safety. These brands, or the brand we looked at, happen to be safe, so we didn't get an alert. We just have the green circle. But you will, on other brands, you'll get alerts. Okay, it'll tell you, hey, this brand is too generic, or this or that, or this brand is known to file IP complaints. And so this is something that you can use where you can't really know that any other way except to use some type of Chrome extension. So IP Alert, you do get a discount code. I worked out a discount code with the owners of that software. And so there is a discount code that I've provided. It's in the description of the video. I have the link and the code. You will get a steep discount. And I believe they have, well, just look at it. I don't want to speak for them, but they have a number of different options. I believe they do have a lifetime and a monthly, if I remember correctly. So, you know, just check the link and see if you're interested in that. It's called IP Alert. And again, use that. If you want to use this actual Google Sheet, in fact, this Google Sheet, and I mean, I've got a bunch of them, but mainly for product research, these two, the Matcher, and in this video, the Sourcer. Find a link in the description of the video if you want to go straight to this particular system and download this one. Or if you want, and also just subscribe in general to my Tools for Sellers so that you can get updated on whatever I have and have access to whatever I have in there. So you can check for that. And also you can check for a link specifically to this Google Sheet that I'm using right in front of you, meaning a viewable link where you'll be able to view the sheet and look at the results I'm looking at right now. to see what results I got, and so that you can investigate them yourself, since in the video I'll only be able to look at some of these, right? So you can take your time looking at those. So that's it. Again, check the description for links. I'm Mr. Mark, and I'll see you around in another video.